Howdy folks, for today's video we're going to do a quick short video because I've had several people ask me a question about the cartridge 277 Wolverine and how you form the brass. So I'm going to go through real quick and talk about the steps of creating this from this. So the first step is to cut the brass, and I like to use a jig to do this. But you can just use, you can go as simple as a bandsaw or hacksaw or whatever. But what you want to do is cut it just right about at the top of the shoulder or the bottom of the neck. So after you've cut the brass, you may find it beneficial to use the little chamfer and deburr tool to just real quick take off the burrs and give it a little chamfer so that when you size the brass it's a little bit less messy. I generally speaking don't do that. I just go straight from the chop to the size. Alright, now before you start sizing the brass, you'll want to make sure you give it a good lube. And I like to use the waxy lubes like Imperial Sizing Die Wax as well as the Hornady Unique Case Lube. I've found that both of those work really well for me. The Hornady Unique Case Lube is a little bit easier to apply. The way I apply it is I get 2 of those cheap Harbor Freight blue gloves and get a little bit on my gloves, and then I rub it and use my hands as a lube pad. This is usually sufficient. After you're done lubing the brass cases, then you're ready to run them through the sizing die. And that will push the shoulder down and neck it up to 0.277. After you've run the brass through the sizer and created your new 277 Wolverine brass, then it's time to trim it to the proper length. The trim to length for 277 Wolverine is 1.530 inches, and I like to trim, chamfer, and deburr all in one step with my Gerard power trimmer. But if you want to separate those into individual steps, you can trim it, then you chamfer it, and then you deburr it. So after you've trimmed it, chamfered it, and deburred it, you end up with a usable piece of 277 Wolverine brass. And then all you gotta do is prime it, throw some powder in, a projectile, and take it to the range. And that's how easy it is to convert a piece of 223 brass into a piece of 277 Wolverine brass. Thanks for watching, stay safe, have fun, and if you want a more in-depth video on the 277 Wolverine cartridge, feel free to leave a comment and I can go into depth on everything.